everyone, greetings from Ankara, Turkey. I am Hatice Karaaslan and today I'm presenting with my student Nehir Asya Ongun. And we are going to be talking about mentorship, dialogue, and the pedagogy of student storytelling with you today. We are going to refer to a specific university elective course called Effective Communication and Mentorship. This course serves as an interdisciplinary laboratory for students from a variety of departments: humanities, business, law, and engineering. And we reach around 100 students in this course only annually. This course is taught both in English and Turkish in alternating semesters for broader engagement. And the core philosophy is we want to blend ideas from education, psychology, and community building to create a lived relational experience for all our students. And we would like to prepare our students to navigate ambiguity with creativity and care, which is going to be very soon after their graduation when they join the workforce. We believe learning begins with dialogue, and no one would disagree this. But in our context, what we want to do is to structure, to scaffold the process for our learners. For that, we adopt the reflective dialogue framework by Cato and Maynard. There, we focus on active listening, restating ideas, and asking powerful, thoughtful questions. Next, we also have Linda Phillips Jones's mentoring competencies perspective, and there we focus on building trust, empathy, and providing constructive support. Finally, we spare a lot of time for student voice so that they experience genuine empathetic listening. They recognize their own experiences as legitimate sources of knowledge. And also, we want to build learning communities. And there we follow the framework offered by Tim Murphy and his colleagues. We also contributed to the development of this framework to get its final form, PACE Acts model. You can please get in touch for further details about this model. So there we encourage our students to play, adjust, care, excite, accept, challenge, teach, and sustain one another. And the capstone assignment in this course is a student micro-teaching activity where students are designing an interactive lesson and facilitating running it with their peers, classmates, based on something they have genuinely mastered. And this takes us to the pedagogy of student storytelling. And from this part on, Nehir will be talking about her experience in the course and how she incorporated her disciplinary perspective in this class.
Hello, everyone. In this course, we use what we call the pedagogy of student storytelling. The process begins with experience. Students engage with a challenge or a meaningful learning moment in their own lives. Next comes reflection, where students examine that experience through dialogue and peer mentoring. Through this reflection, they develop a story that connects their personal insights with broader ideas. Finally, students transform this story into teaching, sharing their insight with the class, and turning individual learning into collective knowledge. In this way, personal experience becomes a resource for community learning. Because the course brings together students from many faculties, each participant contributes a unique disciplinary perspective. My name is Nehir Ongun, and I'm a history major in the Faculty of Humanities and Social Sciences. My training in historical thinking shaped the main question I explored in my micro lesson. As historians, we often examine how the meaning of ideas change across time and context. So the question yielding my lesson was, how do we misinterpret meaning when we ignore historical context? Here I want to talk about why history is important for communication. As a history student, I often ask a simple question. What did a word or idea mean in its original context? In everyday communication, we usually do not think about this. Instead, we understand ideas based on our modern perspective, and this can cause misunderstanding. For example, a text written 100 years ago may sound strange to us today, but if we learn about the cultural, social, and political conditions of that time, we can understand it better. This shows an important truth. To understand the past, we must understand its context. If we judge the past or even other people only with our modern perspective, it can stop us from developing real empathy. To illustrate this idea, I use the concept of acziyet. Today, many people interpret this word as weakness, inadequacy, or failure. However, when we look at its historical meaning, the concept is quite different. In earlier contexts, acziyet referred to an awareness of human limits and humility in knowledge. In other words, it was not seen as weakness, but as a form of wisdom and self-awareness. This example shows how meaning can change depending on context. Through both my history studies and the reflective dialogue practices in this course, I realized that understanding context can improve communication and help us develop empathy. And this example shows how contexts completely change the meaning of a concept, and this idea can also help us rethink how we interpret everyday communication.
Hello again, everyone. Thank you very much, Nehir, for sharing your lived experiences in this course, incorporating your historian disciplinary perspective. So, what we see here is moving from assumptions to realizations. So, without a context, a mentor might assume this concept of acziyet, meaning weakness, inadequacy, or failure. But with the incorporation of perspective, contextual empathy, we can say the concept might signify humility and seen as an indicator of self awareness. In this context, we experience empathetic communication. So we see it's not just about the answers. So mentors are mostly expected to give answers, but asking the right questions is sometimes more important. And this takes us this experience of Nehir and other students bringing their disciplinary perspectives. This takes us to the analogical thinking idea, where important insights often emerge when ideas move across domains, as explained by David Epstein in this book called Range. And so, in our example, a historical or cultural perspective on context becomes a tool for thinking about modern communication. And so, a small pedagogical shift we might offer at this stage is please replace a single traditional assignment with a micro teaching, micro storytelling task. This way, we mean reframing students as educators positions their lived experiences as transferable knowledge, and that makes all the difference. Thank you, and we invite you to design human stories for transfer, connection, and shared humanity. Bye bye.